In this video, I'm going to show you how I made my detailed glide bait fishing lure. First of all, I have drawn a body shape on a piece of paper that I wanted the lure to look like. I cut it out with a pair of scissors and used that shape to draw around on a piece of lime wood. I used the jigsaw to get the shape out of the piece of wood. You could also use a bandsaw, but this was the only thing I had laying around and it works fine in my opinion. After cutting the shape out of the wood, I used a belt sander to make the body thinner, because I didn't want the lure to be very thick. Being very careful, I also used the belt sander to roughly shape the body. I made it very round in the back and kept it a bit more straight in the front, since I was going to carve the head onto the lure. I clamped the body into the vise and used strips of rough sanding paper to smoothen the lure a bit more, finishing up with a fine grit sandpaper to make it really smooth. After I was done sanding the lure, I took a 1mm drill and drilled it through the body on the eye spot. Then, with a 10mm wood drill, I drilled the eye sockets. This way, I am sure the eye sockets are in the same spot on the body on both sides. It is time to draw a little design for the lure body, so I copied the lure body as a reference. I could also draw around the body, but copying it like this makes it feel more precise for me. I used a pair of scissors to cut out the basic shape and I started freehand drawing. I used some pictures of real fish as a reference to make sure I drew something not too crazy. Starting with the eye socket, because that will make an easy reference when copying the design onto the body. It is time to cut all the little details out of the design and draw them onto the body. Doing it this way, I can ensure that both sides look somewhat the same, which is really hard when doing freehand drawing. This is the second time for me carving details on a wooden body, and the previous time I just carved a little bit of details in hardwood. I bought a new knife for this job, so I started really clumsy, but I learned along the way. I'm carving straight into the lines I drew onto the body. Then I come in from the side to take away little bits of wood and create the depth I'm looking for. After I finish all the details on the head, it is time to draw the scales. I'm using an average stencil to lay down the scales somewhat evenly. I want to have scales on top of the body as well, so it's a real pain to align all the scales, but I managed to do it. First I drew on one side, then the top of the body, and last on the other side. Now it's time to carve all the scales. It gets very tedious and boring, so I took breaks while doing it. I won't bother you showing how tedious it is. Finally, after a lot of carving, it is just the fins that are left to get some detail, which is very easy compared to the rest, since it's just some straight lines into the wood. I have added some eyes to make it look a bit more like a fish. Now it is time to make a silicone mold out of it and hopefully not mess it all up. I don't want to go through all this work for every bait, so resin casting will be an easy solution. I hope you enjoyed the video.